Hi, my name is Colleen McKenzie. I'm the principal of the DePaul Catholic School in Germantown. Welcome to the Strong Minds, Loving Hearts podcast. I'm really excited that you get to dive deeper into Mr. Brookins' culture in his classroom. Mr. Brookins has been connected to our community for almost 15 years. We're going to hear more from his time as a basketball coach, a gym teacher, and now leading our fifth grade students. Great to have you here. Mr. Brookins, curious, what was your favorite memory at DePaul? I know that you started here in fifth grade. So tell me a little bit about your favorite memory.
So my favorite memory at DePaul, I have two favorite memories. One is a tradition that you still carry, which is the Turkey Bowl. I think the reason that sticks out to me so much is it wasn't just about winning a football game. It was more or less about just all the grades coming together and being a family for one day. We didn't do it at Loudon Park like you allow us to do now, but it just felt good to be out there with every other grade, and you had second graders cheering on seventh graders cheering on eighth graders. And so that was one of my favorite memories. And the second one would have to be just sitting in Mr. Leonard's class, whether it was for social studies. When I had Mr. Leonard, he was an English teacher. And it was just the way he brought the books to life. He made me feel like reading was everything. So those would have to be my two most important memories about DePaul Catholic.
Super powerful. So when you started working at DePaul, I remember when I reached out to you, and you were hired, and we were so thrilled about that. One of the first things you said to me was, I cannot believe Mr. Leonard is going to be my colleague. Talk about that the experience so far and how it's been.
So I definitely came in a little shell shock to be able to work with Mr. Leonard. Like when I interviewed with you, it was like, okay, I'm sitting down with Miss McKenzie, and it kind of felt normal. Like it was like I was talking to my sister. But when I realized, like, first day of training, which was August, I want to say 18th of that year, I think when I came out in the hallway and I told you, I was like, this is like surreal to me that Mr. Leonard is sitting here. And I remember calling him Mr. Leonard. And he was like, nah, you can call me Chris. And I'm like, I'm never going to call you that, sir. Like, you've been such an important piece to my family for so long. So it did feel like now it's natural to come in and see Mr. Leonard every day.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was just like, it was like seeing your favorite athlete. So, yeah, it took me a while to get to the point where I had to take him off the pedestal as Sir Leonard and just realize, like, I can depend on this guy, like I've always done, to help me with teaching as well. So, yeah.
Love that. I can connect with that, too, because when I was teaching here and he was the eighth grade teacher, everyone just looked up to him, and we still do. And the idea of him being with us for as long as it is, he's just so powerful.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to have him with us and leading and guiding us every day.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. And like I said, Mr. Leonard was here for me. My cousin Deary McMillan, who also went here, Mr. Leonard was his teacher. And it's so funny, even both of my daughters had Mr. Leonard.
It's crazy.
To this day, I can ask Nakaya, hey, give me a memory about Mr. Leonard. And she can pull a memory, like, at the drop of a dime. Sabri as well. At the drop of a dime, you can pull something from what Mr. Leonard's culture. Like even today when we did what we did in the PD, and we were talking about the books, like I explained, Maniac McGee would have never been a book I would have read or I would have just picked up. And even when I gave kickback, like, Mr. Leonard, I'm not doing this, he found a way to, lead me into the story. Like he would just ask a random question and be like, oh, well, if you knew the answer, you would get a Tootsie Roll. But if you didn't know the answer, shame on you. And it eventually pulled me into reading. So now Maniac McGee is like one of my all-time favorite books. And it's a life lesson in almost every chapter. So
yeah, love that. You, Nakaya, went here and graduated, and Sabri went here as well and graduated. I think that is super powerful, the fact that you have sent your children to our school. I'm interested to hear from you, like what drew you to choosing DePaul? You went here, and then you sent your children here, and then hopefully your son will go here soon too.
Definitely.
But yeah, talk about that. Yeah,
he'll be here. I think for me, DePaul has just always been family. I always wanted my kids to feel like when I drop you off in the morning, you're somewhere safe. And DePaul just always felt safe. Like even up into Nakaya's 8th grade year, DePaul felt safe. Sabri, it felt safe. Even like the kids that I deal with now, it's like this is still their safe spot. Like we had kids today in the building.
Yeah.
And they just know that DePaul is always going to be home. Like you can always come back. That was the biggest part of the decision when it came to me deciding for my kids to come here. Yeah.
Love that. I'm curious to hear more about your experience here at DePaul. And first of all, if I haven't told you enough already, you are so valuable to this school. And I want to hear more about how you sort of took that experience and how you're leading your current class now, and the things that you've been able to do are just amazing. So to tell me a little bit more about your experience at DePaul.
All right, so first and foremost, it's easy to be yourself as a teacher at DePaul because, again, we have great administrators. You and Ms. Walsh allow us to be ourselves as long as we stick into the curriculum. So that did make it a lot easier with the transition, me transitioning from the PE teacher to the 5th grade teacher. I think the hardest part of that was me just having to make the kids realize I can't have fun with you guys all day, every day anymore. Honestly, I think my experience here as a teacher has been amazing. Again, I was already here for, I think, 13 years as the basketball coach before I even became a teacher here. And even with that, you guys always made it feel safe. You always made it feel like this is the best place to be in the world. So last year, falling into the role the way I did, and not really like, I think I took it more or less of a challenge last year because I felt like when they were saying that this group of kids just isn't the right group. And like how everybody said they weren't a good group of kids. I always knew that they were a good group because, like I said, I had them. They just needed somebody that could relate to them and actually make them understand, like, hey, I used to sit in those seats. I used to be that student. So I think this year, I'm more excited this year because it's my first full year. And I don't have to go through the anxiety of just taking over a class from day one. It's me and them. It's Mr. Brookins and 5th grade. So
talk about how you view the impact that you can have on the students in your classroom. Today during PD, we were talking about the influence that teachers can have, and especially in this world of influencers and stuff like that. Talk about your approach that you have with your students and how you build the relationship and the trust, because you did a phenomenal job last year in doing that. And I want to learn more from you and your approach.
So honestly, last year, like I said, a lot of it was like trial and error. So I figured out things that would work. And then it was like, okay, we can't do that ever again. And again, like I said, you give us the room to try different things. So I want to say, I guess my approach is I'm going to be stern, but I'm also extremely fair. Because again, I remember what it was like to sit in those classrooms where whatever the teacher said is what she said, and that was it. The way you guys have the culture around here is we do give our students a chance to express themselves because maybe it might have been something that I misread or it was misleading the way it came out. And giving a student an opportunity to express himself or herself makes it so much better. Like, it makes it so much easier, not only for the teachers. And I love how we are able to let the kids express themselves.
Super important. How do you take that positive influence that you have, and then you take that onto the basketball court too with all of our students that are on the team?
So for the first time ever this year, I had to realize that I have to separate Mr. Brookins and Coach Nate. Coach Nate is more of the character that everybody around here loves. I'm the madman on the sidelines when you come to watch DePaul play Jesu, or when you come to watch us play any of the other schools in our division. And then it's Monday, I have to get right back to business and be Mr. Brookins. So it was weird this year. Honestly, I think what happened was once I learned how to separate the two, or I'm still learning that right now, it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to say, okay, this is the way I'm going to run my classroom. And I run my classroom much like the madman in my classroom. But I'm also able to say I can separate the two. Honestly, you slowed Coach Nate down a lot because it was weird, like not working here, or when I wasn't working here, if you see me on the sidelines and I was like not myself, it was okay. Like, Mr. Leonard will fix this and she won't see me again until next Saturday. But it's like now, if I lose my cool on the sideline, I always look to see if you're at that game. And like I said, I feel like the kids see that in you. The kids see you, like, no matter, we can never say that Miss McKenzie had a bad day. You're vulnerable to the kids. I remember last year when I believe you and Miss Westfield brought the guy in to talk about peace in Philadelphia. I had never seen that side of you. You were emotional, but it wasn't like emotional from a place of it was pretend. It was like this was really you telling these kids like, hey, I really love you guys. I may not say it all the time, but it's 200 plus kids in this building that love you. So again, and that's not even including your staff that love you. Like we kind of really look forward to Principal Week. It's like we're getting the emails like, all right, what are we going to do for Miss McKenzie this year? And again, like, that's a place that, to bring it all back around to what I was saying, that's a place that you want to call home. That's a place you want to send your kids.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're not just talking about your favorite teacher. So it's not just, oh yeah, let me tell you what I learned in Coach Nate's class. It's, hey, I seen Miss McKenzie today and she stopped and she spoke to me. Mm-hmm. I can never take full credit of what's going on at DePaul or in my classroom because I feel like you guys are the reason that I'm able to be myself and do the things that I do.
Wow. Ooh, super powerful. I'm like getting emotional listening to it. Woo!
Yeah.
That's super
So,
sweet.
all right, quick question. When you first got to DePaul,
Yeah.
honestly, did you, like, was this your first stop as far as teaching?
This was my first stop. So actually my brother worked here and he was the campus minister of the school.
Okay.
And I was thinking of getting my master's and I wasn't sure fully if this was the route I wanted to go. I was still, I was in my early 20s. I was still trying to figure out what life was going to look like and what career path. And he had talked about DePaul for years. He had already been here for a few years and loved it and loved the same things that we're talking about community and care he was experiencing. And I wanted to be a part of it. So I started volunteering. And I loved it. And the moment I walked in the door, it was just like this abundance of like this family care. The students were so welcoming. And I was like, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And then I volunteered for probably 6 months or so. And then the following school year, there was an opening. And it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it led me to where I am now. But also in the midst of taking over a third grade classroom, I ended up becoming one of my biggest mentors is the class that I took over.
Okay.
Her name is Miss Sieg, and she was here for probably about 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. But she is probably in my top 3, like most influential people that I have in my career. And I just think that I believe in the mission and was just so drawn to the amazing things that were happening in a school where there's so many other things happening in Philadelphia that don't look like this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, honestly, and I say this to you all the time too, I still remember where I was sitting at when I got the text message.
Yep.
I like verbatim still remember the text message conversation. Like I still remember verbatim. I was sitting on the couch and he was like, hey, do you know anybody who wants to teach gym at DePaul or do you want to do it? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I remember tapping my wife and I'm like, Miss McKenzie just asked me to teach at DePaul. And she's like, are you sure you're reading the message right? Maybe she wants you to do something with basketball. I'm like, no, I have an interview to be a teacher at DePaul. And it just like, she was like, well, you're going to work at DePaul. I was like, yeah. And she, to this day, she always says, Ms. McKenzie could have probably offered you $10 an hour. And you would have said yes, because it's DePaul. And I was just like, really? Like, that's what it is? Like I said, I feel like here, we have teachers that probably could go anywhere else and be amazing at this job. Mm-hmm. But I think, like, honestly, we come here every day because of the goals that you already set for us. Like, or the way that you already put everything into place and you still have a open door policy. So again, you're not one of those principals that's just like shutting off the rest of the world when you get to your office. I've seen you actually come in and help me with my class. So in the middle of a math lesson, you're like, oh, wait, Mr. Brookins, I think you meant to carry the one. And me and the kids are sitting here like, you know what? Maybe we should have carried the one. So again, like I said, your hands-on is not like one of those things where you got to the point where you're the principal now and I'm just going to pull back and you guys are just going to do, what I say. And I think we truly, I speak for myself and the rest of DePaul's teachers. I think we really appreciate that.
That's really
we
sweet.
really do.
Thank you. I think that is for sure. You started it, but when you came here and having been a student, that is probably one of the most powerful things that I think I can think of that can happen in a school, that when a student attends the school, loves it so much, hopefully, and then comes back, that is the most powerful thing. And the fact that we now have 2 more students that went to DePaul that now teach with us, making it a grand total of 3. I think all 3 of you are just creating this force of DePaul alum that's just going to be super impactful.
That means a lot. Okay, so my next question for you. Most of the parents that might send one kid here because of you, even though you'll never take credit for it, or because of Ms. Walsh, they constantly send more kids here. Like you said, for me, I sent both my daughters here. The orgies, we just let the last one graduate. And we're talking about 2 that's at Villanova now.
Yep.
OC's doing amazing at Roman. How does that make you feel when you see like families just keep bringing their kids back here because of what you created at DePaul?
Ooh, not just me. I mean, I feel like, so I followed a whole group of people that led the school, and I think I've just tried to maintain what was in place and continue to make it better. But the cool thing for me is having witnessed them over the course of time. As a teacher and then as an administrator, that's just super cool to witness because they look at you a little differently, not in like a mean way, but it's more so like it's hard to explain, but it's really exciting when you talk to families and then you can get deep and understand like the why. And it's because they believe in the Catholic education and the culture that we have around focusing on their education and making sure that they have, a good high school outcome. And I think the Orgy family, their family has been with us for probably over 20 years, maybe even longer. And the fact that they went to pretty amazing high schools and amazing colleges now that's what it's all about. We want students to go wherever they want to go in life. And if that's college, if that's trade, if that's, a different path, we want to embrace that. But the fact that, they had their mindset on that and they were able to accomplish that is the ultimate goal.
And I feel like the parents continue to come back mainly because of, like I said, parents trust in the same way I trusted as a parent that this is a safe space. Like even today when we were going over the numbers, 95% of the kids said that they felt safe here. Yeah. Like that's amazing. For you to go to any school in the world and 95% saying, yeah, I feel amazing when I'm here. So that's huge.
So we are in the Peace Room. And so this space, we have so many people in this community that support our school. FXI helped us sort of upgrade this room a little bit with furniture. And we're really excited to sort of take the Peace Room to the next place, next phase. And so the Connolly Foundation was kind enough to approve a grant that we applied for. I was in a program to help with my leadership. And because I was in the program, I was able to apply for this grant. And so the Peace and Academic Resource Center is what we are going to call this space. Talk about what you believe our students deserve in terms of that. You set a bar of high expectations for kids. What do you think this space can help provide our students with even more?
Honestly, like I said, it was already an amazing place when we just had the Peace Room where kids can just come and vent. And I remember last year, you and Ms. Walsh, like basically let your office become their study place. And it was amazing to see so many kids say, I'd rather be in the principal's office than outside playing with my friends. And I remember a former student here, 8th grader. When he first got here, I was like suspect about him. Like maybe he's a good kid, but who knows? Because again, not too many schools take 8th graders going into the 8th grade. So shout out to you for doing that. Numerous times you've done it and numerous times you've been amazing at it. But to hear him knock over a chair and like scream at his laptop, and it wasn't because he was angry, but it was because he did something that nobody thought he could do except us. He ended up beating his MAP score, and I still remember him screaming, yeah, I told y'all I was going to rock it. I rocked it. And just to see him come out with that smile on his face, and you met him at the door, and I remember you guys like embraced. It was like, that was amazing to me. So I feel like with Park, it's going to be amazing that now our 8th graders have a place to come. Not even just 8th graders, but our students in general will have a place to come where, okay, it's too loud in my room and I need to really focus before I take this test, or the high school placement test, or any of those tests. They have a place where they can get calm. And I mean, most of the time you hear great music playing in here. So it's a space for them to vent, but it's also a space where they may not have that at home. They may not be able to study the way that they want to study. And just us having that is going to be amazing. Yeah, that is like the ultimate goal. It's sort of like the things that we've been talking about. It's
DePaul being able to provide that, it's like tough love,
Right.
but it's the high expectations too. And so to be able to have a space where students can do that strategically, we don't want anyone missing class too much, but it's like you said during recess, they're choosing to work on their assignments, study, make index cards with vocabulary words, all of those things we want to embrace. So we're super proud of that.
Yeah. And like I said, I know like another thing you started with the culture was the t-shirt, the yellow t-shirt, the yellow and red t-shirt. I was out sick when 5th grade got theirs last year.
I remember, yep.
But it was like, I remember watching that video and I remember watching it over and over and over to the point where my wife was like, are you okay? Like, I was just like, yeah, I feel great. But I was like, just to be included, even when I was sick, to be included in them getting their t-shirts and to see some of their friends in the classroom say, hey, well, I'm next. I'm going to get my shirt next. And then go out there and do everything within their power to go get that shirt. Like, that was like an emotional moment for me. Like I said, I felt like 5th grade was like, I don't want to say we were the throwaways, but we were like the bad news bears. So it was just like, with the confidence that you put into them, the confidence that Miss T put into them, Miss Westfield, even, Miss Welsh, Miss Donatelli even came up the day that we took our math test. And she stuck her head in and was like, you guys got this. And it was just like, because of that, when you guys came back and told me the overwhelming numbers of how many kids met their goal, it was just like, all right, this is great. And again, now with Park, you're building on top of that, because I truly believe within the next year or two, everybody's going to be walking around with a yellow shirt.
That's the
every
goal.
Monday. And that's the goal.
Yeah. So the yellow shirt concept is we're trying to build off this culture that does exist and make it even better.
Right.
Where we're trying to motivate students even more with passing their goals. And so I feel like, I feel like you can connect with this. Like, a lot of students that play sports may be recognized because they're really good at sports. Yeah. And it kind of is showcased when they're at recess or when they're in gym. And we were like, we want to shift things a little bit. Like, we're in school. Like, we want to make sure we celebrate the students that are meeting their goals, and everyone should know that people are meeting their goals. So this yellow shirt that students wear was our first step with that. And I think you guys as teachers have been able to build this culture in your classroom where you talk about your goals, you celebrate students that are meeting their goals, and then this shirt is just a reminder and an incentive, because students love to dress down, right? to and also be recognized too. So we're really proud of that piece of academic culture that we've instilled here, but you fully embraced it. And I want something that you shared about your students and making progress. You are responsible for that. When that specific class started this year, I think the percentage of students that met their goals, you had increased at least 20% from the previous year. Wow. And that is a direct influence of that you had on your students. Our students have it in them, but you brought it out even more so. And so I just am so proud of what you were able to accomplish. Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. And like I said, last year, like the yellow shirt, again, with them being able to dress down every Monday, I think that helped motivate not just my students. Like, I honestly remember you saying, I remember the first time we gave out the shirts, and I want to say it was like maybe 50 kids up there. Mm-hmm. But when you gave them out by the end of the year, and I remember you claimed that you named it. You said, by the end of the year, I want 100 students up here. And it was like, I remember we had to back all the way up to take the picture because of how many students had got their yellow shirt by then. I'm already plotting on how we're going to be able to do it when we have 200 kids up there. I'm probably going to have to hang from a wall to take the picture or something. But we'll figure that out when we get there. But like I said, I feel like that was one of those things where even with my daughter, I remember telling the guy, all right, it's Monday, you got to get dressed. And she came downstairs the first time with the yellow shirt. And I was just like, you're not wearing that to school. And she was just like, no. Miss McKenzie said we can wear this.
Oh my goodness.
And I just was like, well, why? what did you do that you could wear this? And she was like, the MAP scores. She was like, remember I passed my MAP scores.
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay, so this is a thing. And
it's probably a dress down for that at that point. Yeah, got
and
it.
I just remember her being able to say, like, because I did something so good, the school acknowledged me. And it's not one of those things where you have certain schools that may acknowledge a kid, like you said, for sports. Here, even with the 8th grader that's on his way to SJP, we acknowledged him academically.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, and then it just so happened that he's an amazing kid on the court.
Yeah.
And not even just on the court and academically, he embodied the culture.
Yeah.
You could be in kindergarten, and we had kindergartners asking for this kid, and he would come down and he would speak to him. It was never a thing where he felt like he was so high on a pedestal that he didn't have to, deal with anybody else. But that's something, again, that you created because you're on the pedestal. You're at the top of the list for us. And like I said, you'll get down and we'll catch you, doing the same thing that we're doing. If you have nobody else to substitute for the day, you can probably find Miss McKenzie in the classroom doing, groundwork with the kids. And that's amazing. That's definitely amazing. Like I said, and that's the type of thing that keeps people like Mr. Leonard, Miss Trice, Miss Mears, like everybody, Miss Rivera, all of us are here just due to the simple fact that it's enjoyable to come to work with somebody that is going to be on the ground floor with you, not somebody that's holding their position to a high pedestal. So we definitely appreciate that.
Appreciate that very much. That's very important to me. The culture side of the staff, you want your staff to come to work because they're serving our students every day. And so that's something that's extremely important to me. So I appreciate that.
And like I said, I feel like you make great decisions on who to bring in. Even when you brought me in as a 5th grade teacher, I still, again, like all of our conversations are like just coming back to me. I remember getting ready to go get 5th grade for a gym. And you was like, what you think about teaching 5th grade? And I was just like, it's that McKenzie turn. I know I'm going to say yes. And I remember even saying to you, let me go home and let me talk it out with my wife.
Yep.
And by the end of the day, I didn't even get home. By the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I'll be your 5th grade teacher. And my wife was like, you really made that decision without even talking to me about it. She was like, but anything that Mr. Leonard asked you to do, anything that Ms. Welsh or Ms. McKenzie asked you to do, you're automatically going to say yes. And I was just like, yeah, that's...
Every coach that has stepped in your classroom has said, there's something about him. And it's just like, you just exude this like positivity. And your students, I think probably my favorite thing to witness about you is when you're talking, your students are on the edge of their seats. Yeah. And the participation in your class last year compared to maybe years prior, I just feel like it was amazing to witness the increase. It was just that you understand the students and you were able to connect with them and make them feel comfortable and safe. So complete credit to you.
I appreciate that. And like I said, even with that was things that I picked up from Mr. Leonard, from even Miss Trice. When she was coaching me last year, I remember her coming in and she was telling me, like, you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting and you don't have to. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She was like, once you show them how to do it a few times and maybe do 1 or 2 problems with them. And for us to be able to have data on if they're good at this, we can't base the data off what Mr. Brookins is already doing on the board. So, honestly, I think last year I found, like, certain things that the kids like. Like, I remember the kids coming to school every day talking about Squid Games. And it was just, like, one of those things where, like, how can I incorporate Squid Games with something else that we're doing in the school? And it got to the point where we would have 2 teams upstairs battling in Eureka Math just to say I'm the better class today. I was the better student today. But we used like the Squid Games part where it was like if a student completely got it wrong, we made it a teachable moment. Okay, yes, you're out the game. But then another student would be like, well, if you would have just did this and carried this and moved this, all the steps that we've been going over, you would still be in the game. And the student that would be getting eliminated would like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I appreciate you pointing that out to me. So it brings us back to how, again, we have this thing where it's like the culture is, we're going to be empathetic. I want to win at the end of the day, but I also don't want any of my friends to feel bad once I win without them. So that's one of the things, like I said, I think the teachers do it. Like they see us acting like that in the building. It could be somebody like Miss K, and I could be really needing some help, and Miss K will stop what she's doing to help. And that's something that you guys have already created before I got here. It was something that was created when Sabri went here. It was something created probably when I was here, and I just didn't notice it as much being a student. But as I'm like, the more and more I'm here, like I always tell you, I'm here with you until they either shut the doors and tell us we all can't come in, or until, I'm old enough to retire. If Mr. Leonard can do 45, I'm pretty sure I can do 40. So.
A lot of our families come to DePaul through like word of mouth. I think you talked about that a little bit. What do you think it is about DePaul that the feeling you have when you walk in the door, between your children, students that you've taught, athletes that you've coached, and then you connect back with alumni a lot.
Right.
What do you think it is that people were drawn to or are drawn to?
If I had to say, like, it's not one feeling. It's like, I always say, like, coming into DePaul is like the first time I ever left the country. It was like the most beautiful thing I had ever seen at that point. And
Right.
I think that's what it is with DePaul. Like, whether it's just like, as soon as you walk in, both principals' doors are open, so you can talk to the principals if you need to. The secretary team is amazing. The pennants hanging up, letting kids know, like, hey, one day you can be at this school, or one day you can strive to go to this college. It could just be you smiling in the morning. And it's like so many different things right before you even get into your classroom. So I feel like even with new students coming in, they automatically, it's like a feeling. It's hard to describe. The building is always kept immaculate. It's like a feeling that it's really undescribable. But you know it once you feel it. Like once you walk into the building, you know, like it's been times that I've had like really rough days, and just walking into DePaul, it's just like for those few hours, everything just stops. It's just like you're just in a peaceful place. You know you're here. The kids are going to love you. Your staff loves you. So it's just like everything pauses for a second when you enter DePaul, and you don't really think about anything that's going on in the outside world. But that's not to say that you and Ms. Walsh don't make the kids realize what's going on in the outside world. So I feel like that's what it is about DePaul. It's a calm pause. Like, it really is.
Yeah. It was a thrill to hear you say all those things about DePaul, and they mean so much. I agree completely. When I walked in the door, it was a feeling that I had that I couldn't really put into words, and it was that welcoming feeling. But I think as a leader, I think we care deeply about what the inside of the school looks like in terms of cleanliness, because I truly believe that the cleanliness of the school is a direct reflection of your care for kids. So that's super important, especially when new families are coming in and they're touring, when donors are here. We want them to continue to invest in our school. So all of that stuff is super important. But I think the culture piece of how you feel as a staff member here is just definitely a unique feeling I don't think I've experienced anywhere else.
I feel like every day we do what we're supposed to do. We come in here as a team. We make sure everybody had a great day, whether it's us or the students. We just always make sure we're having a great day. And even when we don't have the greatest of days, I feel like we're comfortable enough around each other now to say, hey, are you okay? And honestly, it's not just somebody saying, hey, are you okay? Just to be in your business. It's somebody that genuinely cares about you being okay. And again, that's the culture that I didn't have as a student, but by the time my daughters got here, they had that as students. And it's the culture. It's what I want my students to be able to say. I want my students to be able to say, I had a great day today. Like even last year, one of my students' mom was like, you know what? He hasn't had teachers that he really enjoys being around, but it's something different about you. I'm watching him grow in school and out of school just because of how you interact with him. To me, that's amazing, because I never looked at myself as anything other than just, I'm here to do my job. And to hear, those things where it's like, when you tell me like, hey, we couldn't have did this without you, it's like, to me, that's I appreciate it and it's warm, but I think at the same time, I probably wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for Mr. Leonard. You know what I mean? And again, like I said in the beginning, I probably wouldn't be able to be Mr. Brookins if I didn't have you and Ms. Walsh letting me be myself. Like you guys never, try to make me a teacher where it was like, you have to be this kind of teacher. Right. Like it was more or less like, all right, this is the lesson plan. Go with it.
I'm curious, what do you want your legacy to be at DePaul?
My legacy at DePaul, I feel like my legacy at DePaul is going to be bigger than me. I want to be that teacher that 20 years from now, you're still in awe with that teacher. Like I'm still in awe when it comes to Mr. Leonard. It's never one of those things where it's just like, oh, that's just Mr. Leonard. It's always something that's surprising. There's always something that you can always relate back to a memory. Like I said, at the age I am now, for me to be able to remember when I fell in love with reading and why I fell in love with reading, it's an amazing feeling. So I want kids to be like, or just my legacy at DePaul, for somebody to be able to say, hey, I remember when Coach Nate or Mr. Brookins taught us this. And I remember when he related it to this, even what it's doing the Jackie Robinson book last year. A lot of kids didn't realize how important Jackie Robinson was. And by the end of the year, when we did our end of the module presentation, you was there for that. It was just amazing to see them be able to say, hey, I remember I want to play this role. I want to play Jackie Robinson, or I want to play Simone Biles. And again, if I would have asked them to do that back in the beginning of the year, I probably would have got a whole lot of pushback. But it was just for them to be able to say, we had fun in our 5th grade year. That's something that's going to always, resonate with me. I want my kids to always leave, whether they're going to 6th grade, whether they're going to a different school. I want them to always be able to say my 5th grade year was one of my favorite years at DePaul Catholic.
Thank you for sharing your legacy. I know that you will definitely accomplish that. Appreciate you being with us. Your impact is immense in this building. Thank you for doing this with me.
And I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to be the best that I can be. Thank you.